Okay, guys, I'm here for another retro review. This is WCW Fall Brawl 1994. Took place on September the 18th, 1994 from the Roanoke Civic Center in Roanoke, Virginia. We have 6 matches on this card, so the maximum star rating will be out of 30. Opening contest, WCW World Television Championship Match, Lord Steven Regal versus Johnny Bad. Decent little match here. It's not, it's a decent little match. These guys had, I think, had a better match in 1994, Bash at the Beach, which I will eventually get around to reviewing. But this is an okay little match. It's 2 stars. Finishing sequence, Regal's attendant Sir William grabs Johnny Bad. Regal charges at Sir William. Bad moves, which causes Regal to hit Sir William, and then Johnny Bad wins with a backslide. Well, there's a finish you don't see every day. Someone winning a match with a backslide. That's extremely an old school finish. 2 stars. Johnny Bad became the World Heavyweight Champion here. Had a brief little feud with the Honky Tonk Man at Halloween Havoc that would have ended. That was supposed to go through Starrcade, but the Honky Tonk Man left. But the Honky Tonk Man left the WCW right after Halloween Havoc or something, and Owen Anderson ended up replacing him in the feud. So then we get a loser leaves WCW match. Cactus Jack versus Kevin Sullivan. The 2 guys who at Slamboree 1994 defeated the Nasty Boys, become WCW World Tag Team Champions, are now having a match, and the loser will leave WCW. This is a half-star match. It's not that good. It's not bad to where it's a no-star match, but it's just good enough to be a half a star. There's a lot of fighting on the floor, which you would expect out of these 2 guys. 2 brawling type of wrestlers. So there's a lot of brawling on the floor. Finishing sequence eventually is Kevin Sullivan tries to hit Cactus Jack with a chair. Dave Sullivan stops him. And Cactus Jack then runs into Dave Sullivan, and then Kevin pins Cactus Jack to get the win, and Cactus leaves WCW. I believe this is pretty much something WCW wanted to do after Cactus Jack essentially took WCW World Tag Team Championship to ECW, because this was around the time where WCW loaned Cactus Jack to ECW to help out, and he decided to spit on the WCW Tag Team title in the story or interview he was doing, and I guess WCW took it personally, even though that wasn't Mick Foley's intent. So I guess this was basically their retaliation. Which is fine, because the WWE made Mick Foley a much bigger star. So, half a star. So then we get a WCW United States Championship match that is really more of an angle than a match, as it's supposed to be Ricky Steamboat versus Stunning Steve Austin. But Ricky Steamboat sustained a back injury and couldn't wrestle, so he had to forfeit the U.S. title Stunning Steve Austin. And then Nick Bockwinkel forces Steve Austin to defend the U.S. title against Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and the match is only about 10 to 15, possibly 30 seconds. So it's more of an angle than a match, so that whole thing, it's no stars as a match, because it counts as a match, being that there's an opening and closing bell, it counts as a match, so no stars. But it is more of an angle than anything else, but no stars. So then we get the WCW World Tag Team Championship match. Pretty Wonderful defending against Stars and Stripes. Marcus Alexander, Bagwell, and the Patriot. Stars and Stripes got this victory, I believe, off of a non-title win on WCW Saturday Night, I believe it was. And this is it's a traditional tag team formula match, including a spot that's in a lot of old school tag matches where the face who's been taking the punishment makes a tag, but the referee doesn't see it. That happens here when Bagwell tags the Patriot, who cleans house on Pretty Wonderful, but is always the illegal man in the ring. Now all this is going on. Paul Orndorff power drives Bagwell on the floor. He rolls them in, and then Paul Roma covers him, gets the win, and that's the finish. It's 1.5 stars, just because it's not as good as it could have been. So 1.5 stars. So then we get a triangle match. Sting versus the Guardian Angel versus Vader. This is not a triple threat match. It has 3 guys in it, but they're not in the ring at the same time. This is a triangle match, meaning that each man has a coin, and whoever is the odd man out of the coin toss gets a bye to the second round of the match, and the first 2 have a match in their own right. And in this case, Sting gets the bye, so this match starts with the Guardian Angel versus Vader. And Vader gets the win in a little over 5 minutes after a ref bumping and a headbutt from Harley Race. And then we get through the Sting and Vader portion, which is what gets this match its rating, is the Sting-Vader portion. Sting and Vader always had very, very, very good chemistry with each other. They had some very good matches with each other. And this little thing is no different. It goes the normal 15-minute time limit of the round. It goes the 5-minute overtime period. So that's 20 minutes there. And then it goes to a sudden death period where the first man knocked off his feet is the one who loses the thing. Now during that, there's a fight between the Guardian and Harley Race. That distracts the referee. Vader gets knocked down, but the referee doesn't see it. And then the Masked Man from Clash of the Champions in August, who attacked Hogan, well, he attacks Sting's knee, which makes Sting fall down, and that's what the referee sees. He rings the bell. He awards the match to Vader, making Vader the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, because that's what this whole thing was to determine, the #1 contender for the WCW title. It's a 4-star match, because I basically gave each match a star rating, and I just added them together to see what they would come to. Vader and the Guardian Angel got a 1-star, and Sting and Vader gets, so it's a 4-star match, because Sting and Vader got 3 stars in general, so it's a 4-star match based solely upon Sting and Vader. Before we got to War Games, there was a lot of time to kill, so they basically did this thing that was setting up for Halloween Havoc with Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, where Hogan agrees to put his career on the line for one more match against Ric Flair, which is later made a cage match at Halloween Havoc at the WCW Halloween Havoc 94, which I will get to as part of WCW Tober. So that brings us to the main event of this show, the War Games, which I've already explained the rules of War Games. So you know, I prefer the 5-on-5 War Games, or the classic 5-on-5 War Games of how this started compared to the 4-on-4. But this War Games is Dusty Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, and the Nasty Boys taking on the Stud Stable, which is Arn Anderson, Bunkhouse Buck, Terry Funk, and Colonel Parker, who was a replacement for Ming, who had gotten an injury or something. They never really said why Ming couldn't be in this match, because he was supposed to, but they never came up with a storyline reason why he was pulled from the match, that I remember. Unless it was because of his actions at the Clash of the Champions in August, but I doubt that was why. I don't remember the storyline reason why Ming could not be in this match, other than he just couldn't, so he was replaced by Colonel Parker, who in WCW was not a wrestler. Arn Anderson and Dustin Rhodes are the 2 guys who start the match for the opening 5-minute period. And it's traditional brawling. There's a spot there where Dustin Rhodes wedges Arn Anderson's head between the two rings and gives him kind of like a pile driver move between those two rings. That's an okay little spot. It's a unique spot in War Games, which this War Games does have some unique spots in it that have not been seen in a lot of War Games. So at the end of the first period, Colonel Parker's team, the Stud Stable, wins a coin toss. They send in Bunkhouse Buck. It becomes 2-on-1 for 2 minutes, and it's traditional 2-on-1 beatdown. So then the next period becomes 2-on-2 when the face team sends in Jerry Sags and the Nasty Boys. The traditional 2-on-2 fight. Then Terry Funk comes in for the Stud Stable, which makes War Games 3-on-2. And then Brian Knobs comes in and makes War Games 3-on-3. And there's a spot in War Games, I don't know if it's after Terry Funk got in or after Knobs got in, but Terry Funk is pal-driven in that little place where the two rings connect, and he goes down through it. That's an interesting spot. It was by one of the Nasty Boys, I believe it was by Jerry Sags. So then it's time for Colonel Parker, who doesn't want to come in, so they delay the start of the period. Colonel Parker eventually gets in and basically just does some basic punches, kicks, and hits with a belt. Dusty Rhodes comes in, and that really sets up the finish, which is Dusty Rhodes puts a figure 4 on Colonel Parker, and the Nasty Boys just glom Colonel Parker with splashes and elbows, and eventually Colonel Parker submits, and the Rhodes family and the Nasties get the win. Okay, War Games, it's 3.5 stars. It's actually better than the one in 1993. So, yeah. As tradition, up until the NWO showed up anyway, the Faces won War Games. That was a tradition until the NWO showed up in '96. So, out of 30 possible stars, this show gets an 11.5. So it's a C-, as it would need to get a 15, as it would need to get 15 to be a C, because that would be 50%. And under my rating, if you're 50%, you get a C. So, in fact, if you took out the Cactus Jack Kevin Sullivan match, and actually had an actual match with Duggan and Austin, you'd actually have a better show. But given the show that we have, it's a C-, and I can't really rate it any higher. So this will be in my Retro Wrestling Review playlist. The next Retro Review will probably be tomorrow, and it'll be a random WWF show or WWF/E show that I choose at random, because that's how these things work. So if you like the video, like button is down there, subscribe button is down there, and thanks for watching. Bye.